in the Hesped delivered by no less than the Chaim Adam, on behalf of his Mechut, the Vilna Gaon, the Chaim Adam used one of the comments of the Gaon in his explanation for Gemara and Brachos. The Gemara and Brachos tells us, Haroa Kedera B'Chalom, that a person who sees a pot during the course of a dream at night, Yitzapa L'Shalom, he should look forward and realize that he has the potential and the gift forthcoming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to great peace. Why is a pot representative of peace? So they're going to explain, because when you think about it, a pot really is a tremendous peacemaker. For within it is to be found a liquid medium, water, perhaps, and underneath there is fire. And should the pot spill over, should the water spill over, it will extinguish the fire. And should the fire be so strong that there's not sufficient water within the pot, then the water will simply evaporate. Or the liquid to be found therein will evaporate, and nothing will have been cooked, and will be nothing that will be usable by the person who has placed the pot upon the flame. Explain the Gaon, why is it that a person who sees a pot, Yitzapa L'Shalom, because a pot really keeps the peace between the liquid to be found within and the fire to be found underneath it. So too, explained the Chaim Adam, the Midas Hadin, the Midah of the exact judgment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that understandably always is to be found within the world. For notwithstanding the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately created the world with Rachamim in conjunction with Din, but at first HaKadosh Baruch Hu wished to create the world that it should operate via the Midas Hadin, and whatever we would do would be rewarded for good or for bad, as a reward positively or as a punishment based upon our actions or inactions. And therefore explained the Chaim Adam that since we know that Torah is always likened to water, Ein Mayim ala Torah, we understand that great Talmidei Chachamim serve as the water always standing by ready to put out the flames of din that otherwise could engulf the world. And therefore, understanding this, when Elazar and Isamar and Aharon were informed by Moshe Rabbeinu from HaKadosh Baruch Hu not to engage in overt signs of Avelis of mourning following the deaths of Nadav and Avihu, but they were informed simultaneously, but don't worry, because indeed the loss that you have experienced will in fact be felt by all of the rest, all of the balance of Klal Yisrael. And as the Gemara in Shabbos Kofhei tells us that Talmid Chacham Shemeis Hakol Na'asin Krovav, when a Talmid Chacham passes away, everyone feels a loss. Everyone feels as if he or she has personally lost an immediate relative. And if this is the case when any Talmid Chacham passes away, when an individual who is referred to as the Saro Shel Torah, as the Prince of Torah of our generation, takes leave of the world, Oy va'avoy, the tears that need be shed. Oy va'avoy, the tears that need flow, in order to understand that they need be amalgamated into the source of water, as it were, that was to be found in Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Zecher Tzadik Kodesh Levracha, as a paragon and as a column of Torah, both Torah that is Nigla and Torah that is Nistar. And through his understanding and his keen tfisa, his keen grasp and insight into anything and everything that is to be found within the Torah HaKadosha, he was able to advise people what to do and what not to do, what to embrace and what to eschew, the brachos that he gave out, the Torah that he embodied that was for all to witness who came into his Dalet Amos. How much water did he provide against the potential fires of consumption that challenge our world in which we live? Yehi Zichro Baruch. Have a good Shabbos.